Ria TV, True FM.
Say Ria TV, True FM.
On Ria TV,
True FM. That is Explorer.
2024. This is Marka Davis anchoring. In the headlines, President Joseph Boakai describes Wednesday's fire incident at the Capitol building as despicable and unpatriotic, orders an immediate investigation. The United States government condemns Tuesday's violence on Capitol Hill, says political differences must be resolved through an open political process. National Health Workers Union of Liberia distances itself from the ongoing strike action by some health workers across the country, urges its members to remain at their posts and continue serving the public. And away from Liberia, Ghana's Supreme Court unanimously dismisses two legal challenges to new anti-LGBT legislation being criticized by rights groups, according to the BBC. The details of these developments, including the bulletin of news, sports, voices of the newsmakers, are all part of this presentation. We're taking a short break to be back.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, shifting our focus to a new horizon, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow.
Thanks for rejoining us. At this point, let's cross over now to Naketa Roberts to bring us the news bulletin.
The President Joseph Boakai has described the fire incident at the Capitol building on Wednesday as despicable and unpatriotic and has ordered an immediate investigation. The President urged the Minister of Justice to ensure a full-scale investigation to bring to book anyone responsible. President Boakai said if people are aggrieved, there are processes to get redress, but not to get angry and destroy properties. He said, beginning with the investigation into the Capitol Hill fire incident, the government will not tolerate any such actions of lawlessness and destruction. The Liberian Chief Executive noted that the legislature is not for hooligans, but responsible people. Adding, anyone found culpable in the fire outbreak will face the full width of the law. The main chamber of Capitol building caught fire reportedly around 6 a.m. on Wednesday, leaving the entire John chamber burned to ashes. Meanwhile, the Liberian government, through the Liberia National Police, has ordered the immediate arrest of Representative Frank Safoko and Summer in Battle Hospital for Nancy Koffa for questioning in connection to the recent fire at the Capitol building. The move followed a controversial social media post made by the two lawmakers amid the ongoing impasse at the House of Representatives. The Capitol building, the administrative and legislative home of the Liberian legislature, was engulfed in flames early Wednesday morning, December 18, 2024. The fire, which originated in the roof of the historic building, spread to the joint chamber, destroying furniture, documents, and other valuables. At an emergency press conference held hours later, Inspector General of Police Colonel Gregory Comer cited a Facebook post by Speaker Koffa that cryptically referenced the Alemo, a term linked to the historic resistance efforts during the Tensig fight for independence in Mexico. Colonel Comer stated that such posts could carry serious security implications, stating the lawmaker is not covered by legislative amenities if he does something that represents a felonious crime. Additionally, Representative Foko's earlier remark at a live press conference where he controversially suggested burning the Capitol building in protest of alleged legislative misconduct have drawn scrutiny. Inspector Gregory Comer stressed that both statements are being treated as potential incitement and warrant thorough investigation. The reference to Alemo and Representative Foko's threats are not viewed as coincidence. he said, adding that the LMP has identified 4 individuals, including Kofa and Foko, as persons of interest. The United States government has condemned Tuesday's violence on Capitol Hill. The U.S. government, through the embassy near Monrovia, said citizens have a right to express their views peacefully, and violence is never the answer. The embassy added that political differences should be resolved through an open political process. The U.S. government has meanwhile called on all parties to remain calm and resolve the impasse on Capitol Hill so that the legislature can return to work on behalf of all Liberians. In a related development, the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has expressed growing concern over the escalation of tensions in Monrovia and has condemned the violent clashes between police and protesters on Tuesday. ECOWAS has called on all Liberian protesters and the Liberian National Police to exercise restraint in the pursuit of their rights and mandate, respectively. At the same time, the regional body has called on the security agency to swiftly investigate the cause of the fire at the Capitol building on Wednesday and make public the findings of its investigation. In a press statement issued on Wednesday, ECOWAS also called on all to adhere to the rule of law and the tenets of democracy in accordance with the Constitution of Liberia. The statement quotes the regional group as urging the genuine reconciliation of differences for sustained peace and sustainability in Liberia and the sub-region. The National Health Workers Union of Liberia says it is not supporting the ongoing strike action by some health workers and has urged its members to remain at their posts and continue serving the public. In a statement issued on Wednesday, Naul described the strike action counterproductive and based on misinformation, emphasizing that the union is engaged in meaningful discussions with the government to address long-standing concerns about working conditions and wages. The union highlighted several outcomes from recent talks with the government on President Joseph Boakai. The head of the union, Damin Dizur, said these include plans to construct housings for rural health workers starting in 2025, beginning with 3 counties to be identified by the Ministry of Health. According to the statement, discussions are also ongoing with development partners to address transportation challenges for urban-based health workers. EcoBank Liberia Limited has launched its Trade Fed and Express account deposit mobilization campaign in Monrovia. Speaking at the launch of the program, EcoBank Liberia Acting Managing Director Mohamed Dukle said the bank has been in partnership with the Liberia Marketing Association since it came to Liberia, and they are working to provide loans for marketers in Liberia. According to Dukle, EcoBank has noticed that marketers are not educated on how express accounts is being used, for which they have launched a campaign for students and marketers in Maserado. Also speaking at the launch, Liberia Marketing Association President Madam Elizabeth Sambola said the campaign on the express account deposit will renew EcoBank partnership with the Liberia Marketing Association. She meanwhile thanked EcoBank for the opportunity given to marketers while calling on marketers to create their account to avoid keeping huge amounts of money in their various homes. The National Patriotic Party of Liberia has condemned the burning of a portion of the House of Representatives and called for a full-scale investigation into the circumstances. NPP, through its national chairman, Anthony George Morba, said the act must be condemned by every Liberian if it was carried out by any individual. Anthony Morba described the action as undemocratic and unpatriotic, urging national government to establish a clear link and those involved face the full weight of the law to serve as deterrents. According to him, the burning of the Capitol building signaled that there is a serious division in Liberia, noting President Joseph Boakai is on an obligation to reconcile the country. The NPP chairman therefore called on the opposition community to conduct themselves within the framework of the law and desist from acts that will undermine the peace of the country. At the same time, the National Patriotic Party has paid special homage to one of its fallen members, former Vice President John Gray, speaking at a special program in honor of the late VP Gray at the NPP headquarters in Congotown. Chairman George Morba described him as a statesman with reservoir of knowledge for the party. According to him, the death of John Gray is a major loss to the party. The late NPP senior partisan died on November 28, 2024. John D. Gray, who is a prominent Liberian politician who served as senator of Grand Cape County and vice president during a pivotal moment in Liberia's history following the resignation of President Charles Taylor. The civil society human rights advocacy platform of Liberia has expressed concern about the burning and destruction of portion of the Capitol building on Wednesday. The historic chamber located at the heart of the Capitol building burned to ashes in the early hours of Wednesday morning. But the platform's Secretary General Adama Dempster said such acts of violence and lawlessness have no place in the democratic society and only serve to further polarize the already fragile political states in Liberia. Addressing an emergency press conference in Monrovia on Wednesday, Dempster acknowledged the Ministry of Justice and all state securities agencies to promptly and impartially investigate the fire incident and bring the alleged perpetrators to justice. The CSO Human Rights Advocacy Platform also called for calm, restraint, and civility for all parties involved in the leadership crisis in the House of Representatives. The Liberia Red Cross Society has commenced its 52nd General Assembly by calling for leadership to enhance sustainable growth and development. During the opening of the assembly in Bangabon County, the keynote speaker George Roosevelt Willie of Criminal Code A noted that the Liberian Red Cross Society's management and the government should continue efforts in improving sustainable development, oversight, and monitoring processes. According to a release, George Willie highlighted the vital role the Liberian Red Cross Society is playing to ensure transparency and accountability in Liberia. For his part, the Liberian Red Cross Society outgoing president Jerome Clark called on the Liberian government to increase budgetary allotment, stressing that the previous government was unable to meet with its obligation. At the end of the assembly, Bomi and Riverside counties received certificates for recognition for always supporting the Liberian Red Cross Society humanitarian work. United States Special Rapporteur on Trafficking in Person, Sabren Mulali, has underscored the need for a concerted effort to combat trafficking in Liberia. To achieve in the fight against trafficking in person in Liberia, the UN envoy stressed the need for its inclusion in the country's development agenda. Addressing a news conference on Wednesday at the conclusion of her 10-day visit to the country, Madame Mulali said, during her tour around the country, she observed that women and girls in particular are victims of forced labor and sexual exploitation in high-risk sectors such as domestic work, agriculture, and illicit mining. The special reporter further disclosed that assistance and protection services for victims in rural areas and border are limited, thus calling for urgent action to expand the provisions of safe home and child protection measures. Meanwhile, the envoy has commended Liberia for its continuous commitment to accountability and anti-corruption, which resulted to the establishment of the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court. The West Africa Children's Support Network, a non-governmental organization, has made a donation of food and non-food items to the Renaissance Communications Incorporated, owner of Truth FM and Rio TV. Speaking during the presentation of the items on Wednesday, December 18, 2024, the executive director of the West Africa Children's Support Network, Andrew Yancey, explained that the gesture forms part of the organization's festive celebration activities. According to Mr. Yancey, Truth FM was selected as one of the recipients due to its invaluable contributions to Liberia, particularly in the areas of information dissemination. Meanwhile, Renaissance Communications Incorporated Director General Liability received the accolades on behalf of RCR. The Truth FM Director General expressed his gratitude to the West Africa Children's Support Network for the thoughtfulness and the recognition for recognizing Truth FM to be a major part of the growth and development of the country. The Liberian Alternative Movement for Democratic Governance has strongly condemned what they call violent acts of the Liberian National Police against peaceful citizens during Tuesday protests in Monrovia. The Liberian Alternative Movement for Democratic Governance, through its spokesperson, Cham Gowi, said the citizens gathered to call on their leaders to respect the Constitution of the Republic. As such, the LMP was not to put stop to the protests. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday in Monrovia, the Liberia Alternative Movement for Democratic Governance executives said they see the December 17 brutal act on peaceful protesters and as the government failure to address what they call grave violation against the fundamental rights of the citizens as counterproductive to the peace and progress of a post-war country like Liberia. Sham Gowi believes that the government's silence in the face of such brutality is a tacit endorsement of police misconduct, reflecting a blatant disregard for the principles of democracy, human rights, and the rule of law. Gowi also highlighted the broader crisis of governance, including issues of corruption, human rights abuses, and the culture of impunity among government officials, lawmakers, and police authorities. And away from Liberia, Ghana's Supreme Court has unanimously decided to dismiss two legal challenges to new anti-LGBT legislation that has been criticized by rights groups. Earlier this year, lawmakers passed a bill imposing 3 years in prison for people identifying as LGBT and 5 years for forming or funding LGBT groups. Fear and uncertainty has crippled Ghana's LGBT community, already facing limited rights. The bill, considered one of Africa's most draconic anti-LGBT laws, has been condemned by the UN. Amanda Oduor and Rachel Daly Scott filed separate challenges to the bill to declare it illegal and prevent President Nana Akufo-Addo from signing it into law. President Akufo-Addo delayed signing is following the challenges to the bill. He said he would wait for the Supreme Court decision. That's RCN News Bulletin. Is back to you, Marka.
Thank you.
The feature here on News Desk, thanks to Naketa Roberts. If you're just joining us, one of the top stories we are following tonight: United States government condemns Tuesday's violence on Capitol Hill, says political differences must be resolved through an open political process. Let's bring you the first story. President Joseph Boakai has described the fire incident at the Capitol building on Wednesday as despicable and unpatriotic and has ordered an immediate investigation. The president urged the Minister of Justice to ensure a full-scale investigation to bring to book anyone responsible. President Boakai said if people are aggrieved, there are processes to get redress, but not to get angry and destroy properties. He said, beginning with the investigation into the Capitol Hill fire incident, the government will not tolerate any such acts of lawlessness and destruction.
That taking place here. There's a lot of wanton destruction that is going on in this country. Beginning with this, we're not going to tolerate this anymore in this country. We are a poor country, people are trying to help us, and other people are bent on destroying this country. You have problems, we have the rule of law, we have every way in this place to be able to listen to you. But we're not going to accept this. And we are asking the Minister of Justice, all of the security apparatus, including our friends, to investigate this matter. People who are culprit, will deal with them, and will set the tune for all other people who, when they get angry, they burn down the police, they destroy this. We're not going to allow this. So we just want to say, to console the members of the first family in this government, that we're in sympathy with them, but this destruction will have to stop. And we're not going to allow this to happen in this country. But people who have problems, we have the way to remedy all the issues in this country. So that's all I have to tell you. I'm happy that you are here. You will look at yourself. We're not going to settle for this. This is not a place for hooligans. This is a place for responsible people who are here to serve the Liberian people. This country is poor, and I don't care what they do, we'll build this country for the interest of future generations.
President Joseph Boakai speaking on Wednesday morning when he visited the Capitol building, where a portion of the building housing the House of Representatives was caught by fire, leaving the joint chamber entirely destroyed. The incident or the fire broke out around 6 a.m. on Wednesday, according to reports. Meanwhile, in connection to the fire incident, the Liberian National Police has declared Representative Frank Safoko as a person of interest. Also summoned embattled House Speaker Fonati Kopa for questioning in connection to the recent fire at the Capitol building. The move followed controversial social media posts by the two lawmakers amid the ongoing impasse at the House of Representatives. The Capitol building, the administrative and legislative home of the Liberian legislature, was engulfed in flames early Wednesday morning, December 18. Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman said lawmakers would not enjoy legislative immunity if their actions are felonious. In a related development, the civil society human rights advocacy platform of Liberia has expressed concern about the burning and destruction of portion of the Capitol building on Wednesday. The historic timber located at the heart of the Capitol building burned to ashes in the early hours of Wednesday. But the platform's Secretary General Adama Dempster said such acts of violence and lawlessness have no place in a democratic society and only serve to further polarize the already fragile political state.
The civil society human rights advocacy platform of Liberia is deeply concerned by the recent political events unfolding in Liberia, particularly the impasse between the majority and minority blocks of the House of Representatives. In the wake of escalating political tensions, the CSO human rights platform is greatly concerned about the burning and destruction of portion of the Capitol building and the violence that occurred during the protests on December 17, 2024 at the Capitol. The CSO human rights advocacy platform urges the Ministry of Justice and all state security agencies to promote and impartially investigate the fire incident at the Capitol building and bring the alleged perpetrators to justice. It is imperative that those responsible for instigating violence and undermining the democratic institutions of our country are held accountable for their actions. The Britain goes with knowledge for constitutional authorities, showing that certain members of the public, the government, and the opposition. This flagrant disrespect for democratic processes and the rule of law is a grave concern that threatens the stability and integrity of our nation. Such acts of violence and lawlessness have no place in a democratic society and only serve to show powers and already fought that political landscape. And this turmoil seriously hinders our calls for calm, restraint, and stability from all parties involved. It is crucial that all stakeholders prioritize dialogue, respect for the rule of law, resilience to the democratic principles to resolve differences and move Nigeria forward. As an advocate for human rights and governance, the serious human rights platform remains committed to promoting peace, respect for the rule of law, and the protection of fundamental freedoms in Nigeria. Call on all Nigerians to uphold these values and work towards national reconciliation and stability. Let's uphold the principles of democracy and strive for a peaceful and prosperous future for all.
Adama Dempster is the Secretary General of the Civil Society Human Rights Advocacy Platform of Liberia, speaking on Wednesday regarding the fire incident as well as the violent protest on Tuesday in Monrovia. The National Health Workers Union of Liberia now says it is not supporting the ongoing strike action by some health workers and has urged its members to remain at their posts and continue serving the public. In a statement issued on Wednesday, NAWU described the strike as counterproductive and based on misinformation, emphasizing that the union is engaged in meaningful discussions with the government to address long-standing concerns about working conditions and wages. The head of the Secretariat of the Health Workers Union of Liberia, Damien Desra, spoke on Wednesday.
Abundantly clear that the leadership and members that are spread within the 15 counties are not in support of it. Because we are listening to the radio, they should go to their process of working the evidence. But those who are there should not be allowed. They should not allow themselves to be used by other people because we will not offer them the final solution. There is no way they can succeed with the request without a dialogue. The government and the union have been engaging each other after February 16, 2024, when the government took over the Minister of Health, Dr. Kuro, invited the health workers across the spectrum of this country, and we had an online discussion before we ever went to the meeting. And in our meeting, we resolved on key issues that were affecting or that are affecting health workers. For instance, the issue of training from both local and international, the issue of accommodating people who are taking up outside of Monrovia, transportation, those in urban areas, salary increment, salary disparity, reclassification, volunteer, the issue of regular interrupted supplies of drugs, medical supply equipment, and the reagents. This idea has been advanced, and we have been talking with the Ministry of Health officials, and they also have confirmed this announcement that came from Mr. Naketa, who is the Finance and Planning Development Minister. So we advanced a very nice idea, even though it did not meet up to what we had thought. But if you and someone are talking about $100 and somebody gives you an 80, I think it's good to sit down and discuss and say, okay, I will take this 80, but can you add a balance to it?
He is the head of Secretariat of the National Health Workers Union of Liberia, Damien Desra, there speaking on Wednesday concerning ongoing strike action by some health workers across the country. We're little past the half-hour mark. This is a reminder you are listening to News Desk, 45 minutes of the latest news from Liberia and other parts of the world. The top stories we are following tonight: President Joseph Boakai describes Wednesday's fire incident at the Capitol building as despicable and unpatriotic, orders an immediate investigation. United States government condemns Tuesday's violence on Capitol Hill, says political differences must be resolved through an open political process. National Health Workers Union of Liberia distances itself from the ongoing strike action by some health workers across the country, urges its members to remain at their posts and continue serving the public. And out of Liberia, Ghana's Supreme Court unanimously dismisses two legal challenges to a new anti-LGBT legislation being criticized by rights groups around the world. Let's go for this short break to be back.
Across Africa, a new era has begun, shifting our focus to a new horizon, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow.
Has launched its trade fair and express account deposit mobilization campaign in the country. Speaking at the launch of the program in Monrovia, EcoBank Liberia Acting Managing Director Mohamed Dukle said the bank has been in partnership with the Liberia Marketing Association since it came to Liberia, and they are working to provide loans for marketers in the country. According to Dukle, EcoBank has noticed that marketers are not educated on how express account is being used, for which they have launched a